Thank you for coming, first of all, to the audience and then to the esteemed panelists. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules today to join us on such important topic as D&I, diversity and inclusion. So, could you please have a round? We start with you, Khushbu, if you don't mind. Tell us who you are, what company you represent, and what role do you have in the company?
Yes, my name is Khushbu, and I'm founder and CEO of WeCare Denmark. And I'm here to talk about this important topic is because I work with a very diverse market, and that is India. So I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angela Namede, and I'm the founder of My Belly, an activewear and sportswear for women, generally pregnant women. So I'm here looking forward to this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katarina Christiansen. I kind of represent the neurodivergent representative today. I have ADHD, and I work with my company Founder Mentor, shining a light on mental well-being in the startup environment.
Hi, I'm Af Malhotra, the founder of Diversity Economics AI and the chair of Diversity Economics Institute. Pleasure to be here today.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Jensen. I'm the founder of Diverse Founders Network Denmark, which is the platform aims to empower ethnic minority founders in the startup ecosystem.
Well done. Thank you, Rebecca. My name is Human, and I build communities and work with startups and tech, and I've been working with diversity for about 20 years, guess so.
Well, thank you so much, all of you. Can you actually hear me when I speak? Should I speak louder so you can hear me? So, why is D&I important? Why is it so essential? Diversity and inclusion. To me, diversity is an asset. And first and foremost, I don't see it as a commercial asset. I see diversity and inclusion will lead to just an equal society, level playing field, getting equal access to opportunity, which eventually, in a working place, in any company, in my book, would lead to a commercial asset, more productive, better skills, better ethical opportunities, and at the end, for the corporates also to look at bottom line, which will flourish. So to me, diversity and inclusion goes hand in hand. I don't think you will succeed without having the one. So diversity doesn't lead to equal opportunity necessarily. You need to have inclusion as well. So having said that, I would like to start with you, Khushbu. Could you tell me in your, some of the words and experience, why is beyond gender diversity important? And what is, what do you see in the essence, in the meaning, a substance of diversity and inclusion? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Sam. I think in the globalized world today, diversity and inclusion is essential for businesses and for any part of life, even academics as well. And why it is important is because to understand the human behavior, to understand the motivation, what drives people is very different based upon the micro variables that are inculcated in us. And to understand those variables, to understand those parameters, what drives us, what drives our customers, what drives our partners, it's very important and essential to understand the diverse backgrounds, the diverse cultures they come from. So I think it's not a matter of choice. It's not only important, it is essential to take care of diversity and inclusion in today's business. So.
Thank you. So for me, diversity is actually it's really important because you don't talk about gender, you don't talk about race, you don't talk about identity. This is actually not one human, but it helps more, innovation come to life because every person create from a problem. So if we talk about diversity, we also see different types of problem in the world. And this, for me, is more important than it has been before because we are now tapping into this area and solving the problems without thinking about race or gender or identity.
I think diversity and inclusion is very important and dear to me because so the more we get to a point where people can be their most authentic self, the more we get to a point where people can deliver their best performance in every given situation. The more relaxed, the more yourself that you are feeling in a given situation, the more extra mental capacity you have to deliver and think about why we are here or the problem that we need to solve. So for me, I think that is the most important part, to leverage people's potential.
I'll take a workplace angle on it. I agree with everyone here, of course. And the workplace angle is this: if you are the CEO of a company and you want to survive for the next 3 decades, then you have to make sure that the people who run that company understand the world and the planet. You need people who speak different languages, who think differently, who analyze situations differently, who complex problem solve differently. And you can only get that based on what I was speaking about earlier, which is the iceberg, where you've got the seen and the unseen. The unseen is, who are you? Your background, your culture, your family, your traumas, your personal experiences. It is a no-brainer in today's world to discuss diversity. But I am saying one thing today. The fact that we're sitting on stage, albeit that we're really cozy together with our headphones, first time for that, and we're having these presentations thanks to Tech Nordic Advocates and Digital Tech Summit, means that change is coming, and it's coming way faster than it's come over the last 2 decades that Human has been working on this for.
Thank you, Af. Thank you for your inspiring.
Yeah, I think diversity beyond gender is very important because representation matters. We all want to see in our face. We can, as humans, easier find ourselves when we mirror ourselves in others. So when we go to the boardrooms, when we don't see people like us, when we go to networking events such as this one, we don't see people like ourselves. So you think there's no space for me here. So many companies nowadays, they also claim to be diverse, but many of them, they are what I call diverse washing, just to put we are diverse, we are doing something about it, but in actual fact, nothing gets done. So diversity, again, without inclusion, it means nothing, in my opinion.
What was the question?
Why is it important when we discuss
Okay.
beyond gender diversity, and what
Yeah.
does diversity means to you in its essence, core essence?
Yeah. I think I'm a dinosaur in this business, so I've been seeing this, having these discussions about why diversity and so on for 20 years, and not much have changed, even though there are some progress. I think gender diversity is really important, so it's not beyond gender. It doesn't mean that we should stop working on gender, but it also means gender is not only about sex. Of a person, but is gender includes all the different aspects of a person. And I think the reason why diversity is important to me is to better understand myself as a person, because I think with all the complexities that I'm 54 now, I'm still on the journey to learn all the different angles of myself. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's really important to think diversity as when you develop products, when you look at the markets, because it's business. So there are very different variations within thinking diversity and why it is important. But let's talk about how.
Thank you. You look good before a dinosaur, by the way. I've known Human. We've been friends for 35 years. It's actually very nice that I can tease him with some gray hair. Finally, it's not only me who has a gray hair. I just want to say to the audience, again, speaking of inclusion, we actually want you to be included in this debate. We want you to engage. So if any of you, kindly ask, has a comment or question to the panel, please raise your hand and you will be handed a mic and you can present your question or comment. So we appreciate your engagement. This is interaction. I think, Katerina, I want to get back to you. You said the whole it's not about only gender. It's also about neuroconvergence. Is it about ethnicity, religion? Is it your it can come in many forms and shape. And I just want to, a more personal touch. Could you share your personal experience, how you experience exclusion, non-inclusion, so to speak? How did you experience that personally, and how did it affect you? Did it affect you negatively, or did it give you an incentivize you, motivate you to even excel even more?
Yes. So yeah, that kind of it's a long story short, because that's my whole life summed up. So it's only 2 years ago that I figured out that I have ADHD, and of course that kind of explained a lot to be about my whole life. It's also kind of explained to me why I ended up in entrepreneurship, because I highly think this is the environment which can actually handle a person, a type like me. There's high to the ceiling, a lot of air, a lot of place to be, who you are, and a lot of space to be passionate about a certain specific thing. I think in my personal experience, like maybe being excluded, that could be something like when you have ADHD or are being some sort of on the autism spectrum, you are very highly overstimulated much of the time. And in our maybe more corporate world, we don't have the agility to kind of transition into a corporate culture where you can handle this overstimulated kind of talent. For me, it could be the type meeting culture, for example, can be terrible. For me, too long meetings, because I maybe have an attention span lasting maximally 30 minutes or something like that. It can also be like the room temperature, the direct light. I like it takes a lot of me. Like just being here, to make it short, being here today, 2 hours, it causes that I tomorrow will wake up and feel like I have some sort of hangover feeling in my body, and I will only be able to work half a day tomorrow. So that's maybe something specific, yeah.
Thank you so much, Katharina. So, Af, just a question to you. You've been working with this, with the Human. You guys been covering ground for many, many years on this. You were talking about this is coming at a express pace, speed at us, and I fully agree with you. But I just want you to tap into, based on your experience, what can we learn from other countries, jurisdictions in terms of D&I? Where is Denmark at the moment? Where is Europe at the moment based on diversity and inclusion, and compared to other countries, and who can we learn from and why?
Yeah, it's a massive question. I'm going to try and answer some parts of it. I think let's go back to companies again. If you look at the world today, you have the S&P 500, and you have, let's say, the FTSE, just two exchanges to compare. The S&P 500 2 years ago, and the companies there were reporting on DEI roughly 2 to 3 documents every year, like a DEI strategy, a code of conduct, a statement of some sort. In the last 2 years, that's increased to somewhere between 6 and 9, and a similar number exists in the FTSE. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Well, because at the end of the day, a corporate organization is run by its institutional investors and its stakeholders and shareholders, and there's a lot of pressure and regulation that comes to bear. If an organization is disclosing publicly more information about its DEI activities, that is a very positive sign. Going back to when you were doing DEI 20 years ago, you would have known there was no disclosure. So the positive sign here is disclosures increased, public reporting is increased, and it'll only increase further as corporations start investing money in more DEI dimensions outside of just race and gender.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Human. I know you are burning with some insightful comments, follow-up comments on this.
20 years ago, we didn't almost have a computer. But anyways, I have a different angle on this. I'm a little bit concerned about the future of diversity, to be honest. First of all, we see at the big companies in U.S., we see that they are laying off the DEI officer positions. The whole political situation and anti-woke movement has put pressure on American companies. And I also see a challenge in Europe with the rising right-wing anti anything in Germany and France, which are the biggest financial engines in Europe. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned about this topic and how it will survive, because the world is so much divided as it has been before. And I think all of us, we have an important task to make sure that no one really is left behind in diversity. So we address why is diversity important for Lars, who is white, 45. So we are not polarizing the society even more, because it is actually what is happening. Some people are feeling they're left out, and then some people like me and you and the Pushbrew are just saying we get all the benefits. There is a challenge there.
Thank you, Human. I agree. There are, 5th of November, which is not too far away, I will be celebrating my 40th year in Denmark. And I vividly remember how I came into track 4 at the central station and was greeted by a conductor and then taken to the police and then to the refugee camp in Skelleskør, which was quite a very quiet city. Coming from Tehran, which was 18 to 20 million population. But I've experienced past 40 years where this has gone. And unfortunately, I have a tendency, I'm very optimistic of nature, but I have, I'm concerned, I share your concern, let me put it this way. Something's going to happen in the White House soon, and we saw what happened at the last rally with the Puerto Ricans, and that's a different, issue. But at the end of the day, I think you are tapping into something that is very concerning for all of us. But Rebecca, you mentioned something that I really want you to elaborate further on, because this is so important. Diversity washing. We speak about greenwashing, right? Diversity washing. Have you experienced it? Have you seen it? Have you noticed it? But how can we avoid it, in your opinion?
I think when companies claim to be diverse, like when I ask a lot of founders in my network community, like, what drove you to start your own company? Many people tell me, like, I decided to start my own company because I was sick and tired of trying to find a job. As soon as a company sees my name, that sounds different, they put your CV at the back of your important things. And then I'm thinking, like, if companies want to be intentional, is the very CVs that they normally put at the back that should be put at the forefront to show that they want to be intentional about the effort that they are trying to make, not just to say blah, blah, blah about diversity. But in actual fact, they do nothing. They just want to host one event a year that say, diversity is part of our commitment, but in actual fact, nothing gets done.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, just hold on to that thought. It's standing ovation almost, Rebecca. Angela, how can we, Rebecca was talking about this, how can we measure diversity inclusion? How can we hold people, and I said not only the corporates, not only the boardrooms, but also the government, the politicians, the society, the municipalities, how can we hold people accountability, and how can we measure the KPI of diversity inclusion, in your opinion?
Okay, this is a tough question because I'm still trying to figure it out how we can do this. But like events like this, talking out loud, asking diversity to come and talk about how they experience things in the company. Also, Like, it's really difficult because I haven't figured it out yet. So I can't answer that. But I'm hoping for a future where we can normalize it. So it doesn't, it, it is, it isn't a question. It isn't an answer we need to a problem we need to solve, but we just do it.
Thank you, Angela. Khushbu, you're up next. So, what is the world's largest democracy, India, doing about diversity and inclusion? And how do you compare those two jurisdictions, I mean, Denmark or the Nordics, Northern Europe, and with India, where there's the cultural difference, the hierarchy, you don't have the flat structure. I mean, what is your experience in that sense?
Thank you so much for the question because it excites me, this question, because I am from India. My background, I've lived and have got my schooling in India, and then I moved to US and then lived in UK and then moved to Denmark finally, where I settled down. So with my background, I can say that India probably is not doing much about diversity and inclusion as such, but the culture in India supports diversity from the bottom. Like, people are so used to diversity, people are so used to different languages, different colors, different ethnicities, that it's not even a matter to be discussed actually. It is inherent in people's traditions, in the culture, and the acceptance in the society. So actually, officially, India is not doing much, but at the same time, a lot is in place. And at the same time, there is other end of the spectrum where there is discrimination as well, but it's not related to, it can be related to socio-economic status, but it is not related to the appearance, the look of the person. So I think there are some challenges and plus and minuses everywhere. Whereas in Europe, we are talking a lot about diversity, and I think it is also it is needed that we accept it in our culture as well. And it is happening. The change is happening. It just takes time because it is from the cultural. It cannot be strategic. It has to be cultural from the bottom.
Thank you so much. So it has to be rooted deeply in the culture, in the upbringing. We have a question from the audience. Yes, please. Thank you.
It's more of a contribution than a question. My name is Joseph. And when I saw the topic, and please, if I'm a bit controversial, forgive me, I have not eaten. When I saw beyond gender diversity, in my head, I was like, okay, we've not still finished everything we are doing. And it's historically in Denmark, I'll give you an example, that me and my wife, we started on the same trajectory after she had 2 kids. I'm far ahead in my career than she has. So there are still some impediments in that aspect of it. So to me, it's more broadly, how do we open it up more to include people, and not only beyond gender, but bring in different voices to the table? You mentioned that you are scared of the future in our polarized world. For in my head, I'm like, there are more things that bring us together than things that divide us. But if we have the same people making decisions without different perspective, then of course it's going to perpetuate the inequalities that exist. But when we bring in more people from different backgrounds, from different ways of thinking, from different perspectives, then we can have a more enriched and nuanced stuff. Another example, I never knew in my life, now I know, that women were catcalled because it didn't impact me. But then a friend told me that this happened. I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. Then it opened my eyes to see that, whoa, this is what my friends even were doing. Then you can step in, because once the one who is at the end of the inequality, they cannot fight alone. They'll need allies who are not impacted by it. So opening it up more than just beyond something.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I'm thinking what you're talking about, like when we say diversity beyond gender, I was used to attending events that were talking about diversity. And they will say like this diversity event, and then when I go to the event, there were no people like me. And I felt frustrated, like, what is this? What are we doing? And then when I go to the room, it was a bunch of white men talking about how they can include women. And I'm thinking like, how, right now, more than 95% of venture capital in the startup ecosystem goes to white men. Women are still not in the 5%, or maybe mixed groups are not even there. So this is a struggle even for women. And for me, when I go to events that talk about if, like diversity, gender, and I'm thinking like people like me are not even included in that topic. That's what like we should talk beyond that. That's my thing.
I completely agree. We have you first, Katerina, and then I think Af and Human want to.
So I always love when we get a lot like more solution orientated. So of course that is also my contribution today. So I'm following a British company called Cognosist in London. I think you can call it a scale up. So what they do is that they help implement neurodivergent handling culture in companies. And what they do is that they give all their learnings away from free in reports that you can download if you are another company. So what I think and what I learned from that, just like reading those reports and just like handling them out to CEOs and HR people here in Denmark, is if we can maybe start like interviewing and be more like transparent in companies where they are succeeding a lot with diverse cultures. And we start like helping them sharing those insights, I think we can get quite far. But I just think we have to admit that corporates don't have the resources to create this big report to share with other people. So maybe an association from the outside should come in and help those data and report it getting like created. Yeah.
Thank you. We have 3 minutes left, so Af and then.
You're teeing me up nicely. There's a company in London called diversityeconomics.ai. Go look up that company. They're going to solve the data problem. They'll solve the learning problem and increase DEI literacy. One final thing I'll just say. It's back to the gentleman who came up with the question. Beyond is the word just English, so ignore English for a moment. Beyond doesn't mean gender is forgotten. It's going to take another 150 years for wealth parity for women. That's a long, long gig, right? I'm going to be dead and gone by the time we solve that problem. DEI literacy is what we need to be focusing on. The fact that there is nearly full, but this should be jammed. You should have people standing all over the place trying to figure out what DEI literacy is all about. And we should have people who are non-diverse on this as well. We're all diverse, but where are the white people on this panel? We need everyone here. Oh, of course. But I always put you in the category of the super diverse, right? I didn't even think about your race. Yeah, well, no, but I'm talking about in the panel. I think, anyway, DEI literacy is about, final thing, courageous conversations.
Thank you.
All right. I think one final point for me is to create more data, to understand the problem first, because there are in the past 5 years, we actually as a nation has been working on getting more data to understand gender diversity, what's going on within the tech environment. And it has helped a lot because once you have the numbers, you can actually showcase it. We don't have any numbers for minorities, for all the other aspects, 50 plus, whatever it is. We need numbers. But the thing is that it's difficult because it's usually when we talk in Denmark talk about this is white diversity that is important. Everything else is just, so there's no funding to getting these things. I've tried, believe me.
Thank you so much. Do we have any final question or comment from the audience before I get thrown off the stage? Did I see a hand? Where? Go ahead. Right flank. Oh, no. Okay, we have two. Yeah, no. You want? Maria. Sorry. Could we have a mic for the lady over there? Thank you. Okay, you only have one? Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Hello. Quick question. What's your main advice to companies who struggle to bring on more diversity, who has the intentions but not able to do so?
Angela, would you mind?
Sorry?
Would you mind responding to that?
Yeah. I think, first of all, on the ground level, teaching people to remove that unconscious bias, that is the cultural aspect of it. But if we talk about metrics, we can also talk about having diversity index, for example, within the company, which includes several parameters. It can be as simple as many companies are trying that already to have equal ratio in the board for women and men. But it could be on different parameters, and there could be soft aspects via questionnaires, and that is something we do in our little startup to have the perception of diversity measured by using questionnaires towards the employees. That how do the employees feel that is the company taking care of diversity or not? Because it cannot be one-sided.
Thank you. So. We have a question over there, lady.
Thank you so much. So perhaps not a question, but just a reflection as well. My name is Anna. I'm a co-founder of Humankind. We work with organizations who want to improve their disability inclusion practices and their cultures. What I'm getting as well in terms of this fear of what's happening to DEI these days, we definitely share that fear. We speak about that with our clients as well. But what I think as well is that maybe the fear is a reflection of the fact that we have a bit of a vacuum right now in how DEI should be done. Because even if we remove, all the practices that perhaps we see as not working, that actually doesn't change the fact at all that the diversity of all of us here is exactly as it's been. We're still going to have different races, we're still going to have genders, we're still going to have disabilities, and all the different dimensions within the intersectionality of it, right? So the fact that things are not working, and the frustration, I think, also comes from the fact that we simply don't know how else to handle that. But we'll have to simply figure it out. So I do personally like the diversity of expression, of thought, of experience that you mentioned. I think maybe that's a different way of looking at it as well. We need a different way, and maybe we just need a little bit of time to figure out what that way will be. So just a reflection, maybe I'm a hopeless dreamer or something, but I do believe that most people will want to do something good for humanity. And yeah, we'll just figure it out.
Thank you so much. On that note, I just want to say thank you to the panelists, Khushbu, Angela, Katarina, Af, Rebecca, and Human. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring input and words. And thank you so much. On a personal note, I'm blessed today because I have two of my very close friends, Human and Human. I've known for almost 40 years. They came, to Denmark same time as I did in mid 80s, and we used to not get into some nightclubs, but that problem is over now. We are 50 plus. There's no, that problem is removed. But having said that, I think Colin Powell's book was really inspiring. The former Secretary of State in U.S. who passed away, unfortunately, his father told him, never feel victimized, never feel sorry about yourself. Just keep going at it, and that's exactly where we're going to go until we get there. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a productive and efficient and pleasant day today. Thank you.
Let's give them a huge round. Thank you so much. And I think that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you to Sam for steering us through the conversation, and to all of you for sharing some personal experiences. That's really valued.